Do you want to call the roll, Courtney? You want me to?
You can.
All right. Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Council President Pro Tempore Timmons?
Here.
Auditor Hunter?
Here.
Reverend Moyers?
Here.
Mr. London?
Here.
Ms. Ellers?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder? Here. We have everyone in attendance and we have a quorum. Sent to you with the agenda for this meeting were the meeting minutes of February 5th. So I hope you've had a chance to take a look at those. Were there any additions, corrections, changes that need to be noted? If not, there's a motion to approve the minutes.
You have that motion?
Thank you. Second?
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. At your place is a packet of materials that the Auditor State's Office has provided for us, and I'll turn this part of the meeting over to Jim Foote to give us our
Okay, again, I've given you a copy of the bank reconciliation, so you can tie that, yes, their bank reconciliation ties to their cash summary by fund. There's a $129 difference, which has been accounted for. That's carried over from the reconciliation that was done back for 14, 15, and 16. So we're still waiting on the audit. So I just wanted you to see that. You know, the village total cash summary, there's $1,278,652.77 fund balance for the village for the so far this year. Is their total balances.
and the general fund.
The general fund has $431,747.40. So we move on, and I've given you the revenue status. You will notice that the Moving Ohio Forward does not appear anymore. If there's no budgeted activity, no revenues, we took care of that problem. So you won't see any revenue or appropriation status on the Moving Ohio Forward. But you can look here on the general fund, and this is as of February, and in total they're sitting at 36% of what's been collected, budgeted for the year, which is ahead of schedule. So income tax is running high compared to what has been budgeted, but we're leaving that alone for now. I assume, Ms. Hunter, that the property tax settlement will be out probably later this month.
Yes. Yes.
So it hasn't, the February settlement hasn't been received yet. Usually,
Yeah.
I haven't seen a county yet do it in February.
No, because we were still, yeah.
So-
Yeah, they should hit in March.
And we can move on to the appropriation status. Expenditures probably are a little below what they should be for 2 months, but that's good news. They're sitting at 6.9% of what's been budgeted for the year. Otherwise, they're on course with the budgeted numbers. So wouldn't expect any changes. And this appropriation status is based upon the last year's recovery plan. So we tie to last year's recovery plan. And so that's the numbers the budgeted numbers, your final appropriations under your seniors based on last year's recovery plan. I don't know if there's any questions on any of this information. No questions? Okay. And the last group of things is the updated recovery plan for 2000, starting now. village council did approve this. So this is what they would like to go with going forward. And you would want to switch page 8 is where you can see the actual numbers.
Was it a unanimous vote?
Yes.
So just to go through your, on page 8, the security of person's property, the contract with the sheriffs, that was a number that we were given, and it's still holding true, so we didn't make any changes on that. Really, the changes, if you want to see the changes that we made, you would want to flip to page 13, and 12 and 13 are due to, I think is where changes were made.
Can I ask a question? But it goes back to 2016. So how was the actual police enforcement 390 and we're down to 250? I mean, where did that 150,000?
You're looking at 16?
What am I doing now?
No, those numbers,
Got
they
it.
were not good numbers.
That's it.
and
So it's just based upon the
back
fact
then
that
they
that
were
stuff was
posting wherever they had appropriations. So
uneditable. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, on page 12, the top half, you're going to see payment to another political subdivision. And you come to the 2019 column. You're going to see it's $102,000. We had $40,000 budgeted back in 17. This relates to the enterprise agreement. And back in 17, when they made the payment to get whole for the prior years, they made an estimated payment for that. Well, the company did not file with Jobs Ohio, so nothing else was paid for the difference, and then 18's lapsed. And they finally filed, so now they owe for 17 and 18 because there was a variance. So that's taking the variance between what was already paid in 17 and above. The income tax came above the enterprise agreement, so they had an additional. So there was 68,000 owed for 18, and then another 30,000 for 17. So we had made that change. We couldn't control, we didn't pay anything else because the company never filed. We had numbers not met. And they finally did, so.
This is the payment from the village to the school.
To the school,
Okay.
yes, this is to the school.
Okay.
And then we did increase for the remainder of the forecast years because we originally had 40,000, but this company's doing better and their payroll's up, so we bumped it up to 70,000 a year. Since the company's doing well in the enterprise agreement. So that was a big change. And then we come down to page 13. And this is where we do a lot of the changes for the recovery plan. And I know at the last meeting we talked about, we made a recommendation for the village to get a village manager to report his time off. So we have that budgeted. It's the last 3 lines on page 13. The salary, that salary is based on having somebody here from April on. And then we're showing a slight increase, cost of living increase for the remainder of the forecast years, what we did, their salary, OPERS, and Medicare for those years. And then the only other small tweak would be the person that was doing the main head of Parks and Rec, taking care of the parks. He was contracted and he wanted to become an employee to pay an OPERS. So we just moved it around. It was already budgeted. The amounts didn't change, but you're going to notice it probably changed lines if you look at last year's recovery plan. It was a change. It's not contract, so now it's salary. So we had to also include OPERS and Medicare expense for that as well. So those were the big changes into the recovery plan. And we also did include an increase for the village to have to services for part of the fiscal emergency. After 2 years, they start making incremental payments, and it's 20% starting July through December, and then it's 50% of January next year through June, and it's 100% for time for us to be here to help. So we factor that in the remaining years of the forecast.
Is that on page 13?
It's actually on page 12. I apologize. Where did I-
Auditing services.
No, that's audit. It's under contractual, and where did I? Sorry, it's not on page 12.
Other contractual.
Other contractual. You'll see in 20, it went up to 3,600. It was like $1,200. It's out to 3,600. It's $2,400 for us for the remainder of this year, and then it went up to 11,200. But that's our services plus other. So it's based on about 200 hours for the year.
And then 22 and 23 are?
We're out, we're gone.
It's with hope we
that's
have that. Okay.
that's
Okay.
optimistic. Hopefully it'll be before that.
Okay.
But we're, just in case something happens, we'll put it in there. So that's what we have for the recovery plan. I don't know if there's any questions. I say moving Ohio is on page 14, but it's all zeros. So they aren't going. I don't think the village has any intentions of getting another grant from that. So.
It'd be possible to, if there aren't any questions on the expenditures, and we could come back to those if there are, but can you run us through the revenue forecast?
The revenue? Okay. For the revenue,
And tell me what. I
That's
think I
on
found
page
it.
8.
Yeah, got it, okay. Yeah, I'm just interested in what the assumptions, if any assumptions have changed since.
no assumptions were changed, especially for the income tax. I know last time we talked to Rita, they said, what's it, a 1.3% increase, or it's what they expect each year. So we left that the same. The local governments did change, but that was based upon, Ms. Hunter gave us, she gets from the state, this is what you get. So we took that information and carried that out. The liquor permits, they're getting $1,000 a little over. Let's leave it at 1,000, that's a good number. Same way with cigarette tax, property tax allocation, homestead and rollback. That's an estimate based upon what the village may get from the county. Cable franchise fees, 18 was high, but we took an average for those years because 18 was way up. We being very conservative on that. We don't know how many people will want cable. Some people might go away, and if they do, that number will go down. So that's based upon citizens and doing cable.
Is that what you did for the income tax also? Because I noticed it was quite a bit higher in 18 and then 20.
No, because you talk to Rita, they're the experts. I'm, got their opinion, that's their opinion. I'm sticking with them, and yes, it is up. Like I said, last year they were in a program to collect a lot of delinquents. So I think they finally got that all taken care of. So, and it could be if the company's growing, we might revisit this later in the year. We're finally getting a couple years of good numbers, and then we can go from there. And then the other fines, licenses, and permits, that was, I think we've always had 500 to cover, and they're, 400, 350 last year. process for the revenues.
That's good. So the drop from 1 million to 800 is primarily that
Income tax.
income tax, yeah.
Yes.
But that still is a fit with what's being projected with expenditures.
Oh, yes.
They're
Because if
in line.
you do switch back to page 13, just so you can see, I should have pointed this out earlier. Down at the very bottom, adjusted fund balance at the end of the year. If you look at the end of 19, they're projected to end with 538,000. You get out to 2023, they're going to have $1,353,000. Hey, this is great.
Right.
The village has been very conservative on spending. Make sure we get everything straight. So, they come in with a capital improvement plan or some big happens, they've got money to transfer if need be. So
Good.
the balances on the forecast look great. So our next go after, now that we have this, because we've been primarily with the changes in council and everything that's been going on, I haven't pushed on the report on accounting methods, getting that.
This was important.
Yes, so that's my goal now.
Yeah.
After we've got this set, if the commission's good with it, we will start focusing on the report on accounting methods.
All the sense in the world. This is it's a hopeful forecast.
Yes.
Good. Any questions from anybody?
Very well done.
Very well done, Courtney. Well done.
It is. Good job. Anybody have anything generally in terms of this update? Maybe just specific questions or just any kind of general comments?
I do have a comment in my report. We are looking to soon to open up a new factory, warehouse and factory down the street, 3 blocks or so. It's the old Versa building. And I went in there about 3 weeks ago, and they've almost got it finished. Now I know 1/3 of it's going to be manufacturing, fabrication of metal somehow, and 2/3 of it will be a warehouse. So we're glad to see. I asked him how many employees he may have, because the Mayor's Legion Hall is right beside of it. And he said he wasn't sure yet, but he would check and get back with me, but he hasn't. So hopefully we'll be able to income.
Yeah. Those are the things that we don't have really factored in here. So
Yeah,
that
no
will make the
factored in.
report
Even better.
Yeah,
Yes.
make the plan even better. All right, well, we need to approve this plan, vote to approve it. As the commission, we can say yes or no. We can't modify the plan on this line or that line. But I know I'm feeling good about it with the mayor's work on it, his good work, and then council being unanimous of their approval. So if there is a motion to approve the revised, the updated financial recovery plan.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Mayor moves. Second.
I'll second.
We'll take a roll call vote on this. Mayor Martin?
Yes.
Council President Pro Tempore Timmons?
Yes.
Auditor Hunter?
Yes.
Reverend Moyers?
Yes.
Mr. London?
Yes.
Ms. Hours?
Yes.
Ms. Snyder, yes. We have a unanimous vote as well to accept the revised financial recovery plan.
Can I pass this copy around? Get everybody's
Yeah.
signature.
Go ahead, you can just start
Start at one
there,
end.
yeah, just pass it around. Good work, thank you, auditors, Steve. Was there anything else you had, Jim? for us?
No, I do not.
Okay. I have one other item under the financial area, and that is, and Jim mentioned it, that we've received a letter from the Ohio Auditor State regarding the services of the local government services section. of the auditor's office. And amazingly, the village is nearing their two-year period of being in financial emergency. So it was the first 2 years when all of that is paid for by an appropriation of the Ohio General Assembly. So as you enter time for the second year plus after the 24th month, there's a charge for that of 20%. So this letter outlines that and then goes on to say what Jim was saying. Then you enter into the 36 months, it's 50% of the costs, and then 100% of the 36 month. With this forecast, there's some hope you'll not make that, which would be a very good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But at any rate, I wanted to present this, and I'm happy to pass it around if you'd like to read the details on it. But I'd like to move that we authorize the local government services section for their services as outlined in this letter of March 2019. So I'll make that motion. There's a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We can pass around, I'll sign it, and Courtney will sign it on as well to authorize the amount that will come due after
Is there a place where I
June.
can-
No, this one you don't have to sign.
Okay.
It's just informational, and you'll just receive after I send out the agenda. So anyway, that's important to this business. Mayor, you've given us a taste of your report with the new business, which is
I
a
did,
good
and
sign, and I welcome any other information you'd
Well, I
like to
know.
share with us.
I've been out of the weather the last several days, so I'm going to turn my report over to my fiscal officer, Courtney.
I don't have much to report. I know Billy wants
Sorry,
to
I sprung that
have,
on you.
that we hope to, start to grow. We start to move in the right direction. And I appreciate everybody here on this committee with everybody's support, with residents that have offered suggestions, and obviously April and Jim for supporting me as a financial officer. And I just think we're in the right direction. I'd like to move forward. I'd like to see the forecast moving in a positive direction. And, hopefully we come over budgeted than what we have budgeted. So I look forward to that. So not much to report, just moving forward.
Okay. All
Sorry.
right. Village Council President
Yes, I got a report.
Timmons.
Since the last time reported, we have 3 new members. We had 3 resignations. We got 3 new members. We got Mike Bennett, we got Marcy Darlington, and also Craig Hicks, and we're getting a lot accomplished. Your typical winter things, potholes. We'll be interviewing some administrators for candidates Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So we're working hard at that. So we're keeping everything in progress, but that's a quick rundown.
Bring forward for the good of the order. At this point.
Sorry about that.
We heard from Courtney gave us the update, and we heard about the village council and the new members, and the interviewing on Monday. Does that cover what you had in mind?
Yes.
Okay.
I told him, Mr. Mayor, we'll be interviewing a few people for the administrator job. We got that Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if there isn't anything else at this time, we'll go ahead and look at our calendars for the next meeting. And with the recovery plan in place, I'm inclined to give it a little bit of time so that we can see how that's going before we meet Tuesday, June 11th as a possibility. Yeah, work for people.
We
And
do
we'll stay with our 10 a.m. time. Okay, let's plan on that then. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?